The following segments are pre-recorded and sponsored by Longworth Productions.
Major funding for Triad Today comes from Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, making healthcare better for all. Saving money on Triad Today. Hello everybody, I'm Jim Longworth. Welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you once again from the Kernersville Auto Museum. It's a great place to visit, and you can come here for free. We'll tell you about it later on. And later on is when the roundtable shows up. We're going to get into all sorts of controversies with those guys, so stay tuned. Hope you'll be with us the entire half hour. But where we want to start is with a good friend from Novant. He's a first-time visitor to the show. We're so glad to have him here. Dr. James Dugan is a hematology and oncology specialist. He's also a physician lead for the transplant and cellular therapy department at Novant Health Cancer Institute in Forsyth. And I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
By way of Norway and Oregon and Reno, Nevada. And you've been around, haven't you?
Been around, yep. Ohio State, University of Colorado.
All right. Well, but we're glad you're here now.
Thank you very much.
I want to talk about something serious, and I want you to help me through this. September, as you know, is Blood Cancer Awareness Month. So help us understand, what are blood cancers?
So blood cancers are not that dissimilar from other cancers that we discuss, lung cancer, breast cancer. The difference with a blood cancer is that the disease is more liquid, right? It's in the blood, it's coming from the bone marrow, and the bone marrow is in charge of making all the cells of our blood, and that can become a cancer too, just as a lung cancer or a breast cancer is a solid
Well, who seems to be most or more affected by this? Is a particular gender, particular age, race, ethnicity?
Yep, for our blood cancers, they span the age ranges, right? So for something like acute lymphoblastic leukemia, ALL, that's much more common in children, whereas acute myeloid leukemia, much more common in adults. So it spans the gamut.
All right, what symptoms would someone have if this was onset?
So for most of our blood cancers, common symptoms, fatigue, right? Because it affects the way your body makes blood. And so if you don't have the same oxygen carrying cells, which are the red cells, people get tired. You can bruise because the platelets come from the bone marrow as well, and they're in charge of bruising and bleeding. So, people come in saying like, I've got these weird bruises and I don't know where they came from.
Never had them before.
Never had them before. It's all of a sudden new, and they didn't get an injury that they can remember.
Okay.
So those are some common symptoms.
Now, I think you and Bonnie sent me an email a week or so ago about a clinical trial. Now, what's the trial about? What's the drug about?
So this clinical trial is for a different blood cancer called chronic myelogenous leukemia, or CML. And the drug is a new version of a standard kind of a body of drugs called tyrosine kinase inhibitors. This one works a little bit different. The name is asciminib, or Scemblix. And it's a newer therapy on the market, so the drug trial was really meant to see if that was going to be just as efficacious as the older versions,
right,
and have less side effects.
Is it making a difference, do you think?
It is making a difference, I think. Based in the clinical trial, I think the drug is more tolerable. And then just in our anecdotal evidence by treating patients with it, patients seem to tolerate it much better.
Are people seeming to get blood cancers and even this specific type more often now? They just been diagnosed more, or we're just hearing more about it? Or help me out with that.
Yeah, so I think you're hearing more about it. The incidence is the same, right? So there's about 9,000 to 10,000 cases of CML specifically per year in the United States. That has not changed. But what has changed is the prevalence, right? More people living with it longer. So pretty soon, you have 10,000 cases every year, but more and more of those people are living years, decades longer.
Right.
And so, pretty soon everybody knows somebody that has blood cancer because the drugs are better.
Doc, you and I just met, so I'm curious very quickly. Who or what led you to a career in medicine and healthcare? Was it a friend, a mom, a dad, an uncle, what?
No, it was a sort of my own doing, kind of cycling through the different options in education. And I originally was a philosophy major and said, how do I use philosophy to be more practical, right? How to use the practical application of that? And that slowly led me to medicine.
Really?
And here we are. Yeah.
Hey, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Do you offer philosophical statements to your patients?
Sure. Free of charge, of course, right? Yeah.
Well, you heard that, folks. We got that on record. He's going to say philosophical things for free. Up on screen, you can go to novanthealth.org for the general website with lots of portals to get you in the right place, and you can call Dr. Dugan specifically, his office 718-5570. That is on screen as well. I want to thank you seriously for being here, for doing what you're doing, for doing the clinical trial, and for all the work you're doing.
I really appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Doc. We'll be right back after this.
I am so
Why
frustrated.
can no one help me?
Waiting
This is
is
a
the
nightmare.
worst. I think it's healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all. Starting with you. Yes, you, Daryl. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting your benefits, prescriptions, and details all in one place. Convinced?
No. But it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina. Making healthcare better for all. Starting with you.
The world's brightest are Fulbrights, Goldwaters, McNairs, and Spartans. UNCG. Find your way here.
Back now on Triad Today, and we've talked about volunteerism before on this show in a different context, but this is fascinating. You talk about volunteers. Here's some great volunteers, and on my immediate right, Linda McKenzie, she's coordinator of something called the Ambassador Program for Piedmont Triad International Airport, and she is next to Darlene Evans and Roger Cheney, who are PTI ambassadors. Good to see all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you.
Linda, let me start with you quickly. What is the Ambassador Program?
It's our volunteer program at the airport. We established in 1988, so this is our 37th anniversary.
All right.
And we are one of the first airports in the industry to have a volunteer
one of
program
those.
like this.
Now, how are the volunteers recruited, and how are they selected?
Well, they have a vetting process. They have to go through security threat assessment, have to be fingerprinted and all
Right.
that, very tough security.
Right.
And then we have them come in and shadow with the current volunteer just to get acclimated to the airport environment.
Right.
And once they do that, ready to go solo, we do some one-on-one training.
Okay.
And we, of course, outfit them in the uniforms.
And I will say, on the from the get-go, as we hear from Darlene and Roger. Roger, I think you've been an ambassador for 25 years?
That's right.
Darlene, is this your first or second year?
Almost my first year.
Almost your first year. And you like Roger?
Oh,
Yeah.
we cool.
No, never mind. All right, I'm going to get both of you to answer these quickly for me. Darlene, we'll start with you. How long? We know how long you've been an ambassador. What kind of things do you do as an ambassador?
I try to encourage the travelers to alleviate their stress as they're traveling. If they have any questions at the airport, they're trying to find what airline they're going, what gate, bathroom,
Right.
to where the rental cars, whatever that will help make
Because
them.
people have a lot of questions, don't they?
They do.
And you're right, it can be stressful. Now, what kind of things do you help with, Roger?
Well, numerous things, but she's right. The stress level of people that come in there, to make them feel comfortable and at ease at the airport, because a lot of people that come up for questions usually are on edge. They really are nervous about being in the airport because they're not used to flying.
Right.
Now, the seasoned people, it's not a problem with.
No.
But most of the people are
First
like
time,
that.
you get a lot of questions from first-time flyers.
Exactly.
And of course, people worried if they're going to, have they missed a flight? Are they going to, where can they go? And do you ever get any? I'm going to put you on the spot. We didn't rehearse this. You get any strange questions? Anything funny or strange or whatever? Either one of you?
I had a lady that said, "Do we have a foreign currency?" And I say, "No, we don't have one in Greensboro." And she said, "Well, can't you just fly my money somewhere and get it changed for me?" I said, "No."
Fly her money. I'm going to try that. I'm going to come to the airport. I'm going to ask you that sometime.
I had one. Where a young student from App State drove all the way in and missed her flight.
Oh, wow.
And she was in tears and totally distraught. And the question she asked me was, would I drive her to Charlotte to pick up the next flight?
Now, that sounds like something my wife would ask me. I tell you, so y'all get it all, don't you? All right, before time gets away from us, I'm going to ask all three of you, why did you want to volunteer? Linda?
It's just being able to help people. We call it our Southern style comfort at the airport. And we just are able to relate to people like that, because air travel can be frantic. And you can tell people are just so upset, and it's rewarding for you to help those people.
Right. What about?
Same thing. I love helping others, and so to encourage them to alleviate the stress, so to find their way to the travel, it makes me feel like I did something on that day.
Yeah,
And
Roger.
you did.
I think it's because the airport makes the volunteers feel like a part of the airport, and they keep us involved in other things besides the information
Yeah.
booth. I mean, we do events, we do the 5K, 10K, we help out on all the things that they have going on. They treat us like part of the family.
Run on the runway and some of the
Right.
things like that. Yeah, that's just great. I tell you, I can't tell you how much I appreciate what all three of you do and your
you.
group that you're part of in helping people. Up on screen, you can go to flyfrompti.com for general information about what's going on. And I forgot to ask Linda very quickly before time gets away. If I'm kind of nervous, I want to ask a question. How do I find you at the airport?
We have 4 information booths at the airport,
Okay.
and then we rove around the airport. You can tell the volunteers by how they're all dressed up.
Okay. And Roger got through the screening okay? Is that how he's still here?
He barely made it, but
It was,
Looks a little dangerous
and
to
go.
me.
there's a story to that,
That's
but
right.
that's okay.
Thanks to all of you. I hope you come back sometime, and thanks
Thank
for
you.
everything.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this. Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you that Triad Today also airs on GTN Spectrum Channel 13 and streams on WFMY Plus, free on Roku and Amazon Fire. Back now on Triad Today, we have a familiar face visiting with us today, and Trey Davis is City Manager, City of Greensboro. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
You and Carla sent me some email information ahead of time and said we're going to talk about housing. And there's something that was on the email called Road to 10,000. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
What is that all about, and what's the overall goal?
So the Road to 10,000 is about Greensboro meeting the moment. We know that over the next couple of years, there's a demand for housing. There's research that has been done, part of the Carolina Corps' efforts to advance economic development in this region. And so Greensboro's portion of that housing need is about 10,000 homes. Actually, I'll tell you a little secret. I wanted to say more, but we're going to start at 10,000.
Okay.
But we're looking to achieve 10,000 livable housing units in the next couple of years.
All right. Now, how are you going to? This all sounds great, but let me come at you with a pick at you for just a second. How are you going to streamline the development process to get this going?
So a couple things that we've started already. One, our internal team, which is comprised of folks from our housing department, also folks from our planning, which is going to be tremendously important. A couple different areas are involved internally. That allows us to take a look at what are our permitting processes, what things in our zoning and planning processes do we need to look at to reshape so that not that we compromise on safety, but that we make it easier to work with for our developers and our builders that come to the area to address the housing need that we have.
Not as many obstacles.
Right, absolutely.
Now, is the community helping at all, or can the community help with this?
The second part of what we're doing is convening an external task force comprised of folks from our building community, but also folks that represent different spaces in our community. We have people from the finance areas of life. We also have people that just have an interest to make sure they're part of Greensboro's community and they want to make sure they give input. So we've convened a small group of about 9 folks from our community. They'll help us go out into the community for larger discussions. But, these things are so important because part of the Road to 10,000 is really not just a number, but it's making sure that the communities in Greensboro are resilient, they're inclusive, but as we grow, that we grow smart.
So really, this is, I know this is an overused phrase to say something's a win-win, but, a lot of folks that are watching will say, well, why should I care about this initiative? But it benefits everybody, right?
So the Road to 10,000 is about making sure we meet the moment with the economic development we're seeing, but it's much more. It's about making sure that communities grow the right way, the way they want to grow. A portion of what you'll see with this initiative also is to revitalize existing areas in our communities that historically have been forgotten about.
Now, if a developer is interested in wanting to, or a contractor says, hey, I saw you on TV talking about this, I'm interested, but what do they do to get involved? Is there a process or what?
Absolutely. Part of our website that we built out has a component for developers and builders. Also, we have components for folks that just want to know what it's about. And so, this is an all-encompassing effort that we want to make sure that we're educating to our community, but also where we're building important relationships. And that's with our builders, developers, folks from our Realtors Association are engaged as well. And again, as we meet the moment, we want to make sure that we're inclusive. And I got to say this, the Road to 10,000 is about multiple housing types. I've had conversation with folks and they want to ask, Trey, is this all about affordable housing?
Right.
No, it's not, but it will include affordable housing. Is it all about higher end or the upper end of the market? No, it's not only about that, but it will be inclusive. We truly believe, based on the research and the data that we've seen, that we need to inject more housing units across the spectrum.
Right.
That means addressing affordable so that attainability of housing is addressed. That means addressing that missing middle so that we can make sure we have the different housing types, the different housing price points.
And especially as these new industries are coming in and out of here, they need places to live, and you want them to stay in the area. That's what, up on screen, I shouldn't be running off the mouth. Up on screen, a new website we want you to go to, GSO Road to 10K. That's for Greensboro, road to 10K.com. Please check that out to learn more about that. Nathaniel Trey Davis, we are so glad you came here, and I want to get you back just talking about your background some more. We've done that before, but I think people will be interested to know about your background and how you got into police officer work and then made your way here. So thanks for all you're doing for everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, pal. We'll be right back after this.
I got free meals. What do you mean? No, seriously, how much did you pay us? I didn't pay anything. I learned how to cook all of these fresh foods that were delivered to my house. Everything in that grocery bag that's fresh, I had a recipe for it, and I know how to cook. It encouraged us to eat better, to shop better, make better decisions.
Back now on Triad Today. Always glad we can spend a few minutes with the good folks from Duke Energy. And I'm going to skip over the gentleman immediately next to me to go to my buddy Hank Henning and introduce him first. Hank, of course, as you know, Manager Government Community Relations for Duke Energy. And Hank's special guest is Scott Burton, Senior Products and Services Manager who grew up in Raleigh. And we're so glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Scott, hold on just a second. I'm going to talk to Hank for just a second. Hank, now, you've been on the show many times before. You and I have talked about ways that people can save energy and save money. So my question is, you sent me an email saying you guys want to talk about a different kind of program, a new program today. Why is that, number one? And number two, why is Scott your special guest?
Thanks for having us, Jim. Yeah, so great questions. Well, for starters, as you know, we do a lot of energy efficiency programs and offer a lot of services to our customers. This is one of our more popular energy efficiency programs. We go right into the communities. It's our Neighborhood Energy Saver program.
Okay.
And so what Duke Energy does is it identifies typically older communities where the customers can really benefit from energy upgrades.
Yeah.
And so we've been in several communities in Forsyth County, Walnut Cove, Stokes County and Forsyth, Walnut Cove, Kernersville,
yeah.
Winston-Salem. We're going to now be moving over to Guilford and Greensboro.
Right.
So Scott here is our manager of this great program, doing an outstanding job, and we want to just come share his good work and the program itself.
So what's it all about then, Scott? Help me understand.
Well, it's quite simple. The program is really designed for us to go into specific neighborhoods. Everyone within that neighborhood qualifies for this program. So they get a free energy assessment of their home.
Okay.
So we'll come in, identify some items that we could install for that customer, such as LED light bulbs, weather stripping, shower heads, smart thermostats as well.
Oh, yeah.
And other energy efficiency measures.
So you're telling me that, like, if you came into my house, I've got an older home, and you come in there and say, hey, you really need a new thermostat, and you tell me the reasons why, I don't have to worry about paying somebody to put it in?
You are absolutely right.
Wow.
We will come in, we will install these measures absolutely free. We are only in neighborhoods for a limited amount of time.
Right.
So if you do get a flyer in the mail saying that we're in your neighborhood, we're probably asking you to schedule an event or schedule a visit.
Right.
Or maybe even invite you out to an event to learn more about the program. But definitely take advantage of the program. And you may also see one of our outreach specialists come knock on your door as we canvass through the neighborhood.
And that, I think that's just great. Now, any other program you want to mention or plug real quick that's going on?
Well, we have quite a few energy efficiency programs that are going on across the board, and Duke Weatherization is another great program for everybody. And so definitely encourage folks to go out to our website and learn more about our program.
Hank, I'm going to ask you, it's going to sound like a stupid question or a snooty question, but I'm serious. Why do you guys at Duke Energy care so much if we save energy? Because people watching, they'll say, well, why should Hank and everybody and Scott care? You know, they make money from selling energy. So why should you care?
No, it's a great question. We actually get that question all the time. So the reason is, by our projections, energy demand is going to increase by 25% by the year 2030. So what comes along with that is the need to build more power plants to accommodate that demand. So it helps us to actually help our customers lower their energy bills with more energy efficiency programs, because that saves us long term and all the capital expense that goes into building these energy power plants and so forth.
Right.
So it actually, the lower our customers' energy usage is, the better it helps us in the long run.
And the more care we talk about the long run, of course, that's then going to translate to more jobs for the area if companies can come in and take advantage of the ways that you're distributing the energy, right?
Yeah, we're all a victim of our own success here in North Carolina. We have some of the lowest energy rates in the country. We have some of the best business climates around, and people want to move here, so let's keep it going.
Well, this gentleman here moved here. I mentioned you were from Raleigh. You were telling me before we went on. So
yes, sir.
I'm just, will you come back sometime? I want to ask you about why you got into this field and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Be happy to.
Great. Up on screen, before I forget to do this. Duke-energy.com is the general website with lots of different portals where you can find out what's going on. And to Hank and to Scott, I want to thank you on behalf of everybody, but especially the people you're helping in these neighborhoods. Thanks for everything.
Thanks for having us.
We'll be right back after this. Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you to catch my column Longworth at Large and Yes Weekly every week. It's available throughout the Triad, or you can go online, yesweekly.com. Major funding for Triad Today comes from Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, making healthcare better for all. Back now on Triad Today, just about time for the roundtable, but a quick shout out to the good folks here at the Kernersville Auto Museum. Come on out and see them on the weekends. It's free to see things, and the cars are great, and you can have your events here. And we're having an event right now, as a matter of fact. The next to me on my right, but always a political left, Ogie Overman. Next to him is our good buddy, Mr. Theater Dave Briggs, has his own consulting company now, and so does Bob Shackelford, who used to be the president of Randolph Community College. Guys, let's get to it. Faced with the prospect of staging a walkout to protest budget cuts, school teachers in Forsyth County have been reminded by school attorneys that their First Amendment right to free speech is, quote, limited while serving as a school employee. You agree with that interpretation, Oak?
Not really. I mean, it sounds like a form of intimidation to me. I mean, what separates school teachers from everybody else? Where's their freedom of speech limited? I don't get it.
Well, I think if they're walking out of a classroom filled with students and they're being paid, then that's an issue that's an HR issue.
Right. Bob?
Legally, he's right. As a person, you have protected freedom of speech. As a teacher, the school has some say. You can't go in a classroom as a teacher and say, I don't believe in science, the earth is flat. Your freedom of speech is restricted.
Right. Speaking of free speech, the manager of a retail store in Utah recently hired a transgender man, but for religious reasons, she refused to refer to him as she or her. That manager was then fired for, quote, discrimination. Was the firing justified, or does it violate the manager's freedom of speech? Hoagie?
The old religious reasons ruse. Where in the Bible does it say anything about transgender people?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
I never saw it.
But the Bible doesn't say you get fired either. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the firing was wrong. I have issues because Caitlyn Jenner, I would call Caitlyn Jenner she, perhaps, but if a person's gender fluid, I think there's a challenge when you're working with people.
Right. Bob?
Well, again, whatever your beliefs are, technically, legally, they were correct. What he did was create what's called a hostile environment. And hostile environment is one of the legal definitions of sexual harassment. Whatever your thoughts are, you're creating a hostile environment for that person.
What you perceive to be hostile. Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right. A 16-year-old San Francisco boy recently committed suicide, and now the family is blaming and suing ChatGPT. It seems the youth spent most of his time seeking human companionship from an artificial intelligence chatbot. Guys, this is a tough one. Who wins this lawsuit, Ogie?
You know what? This is going to be happening more frequently. I remember that movie we mentioned before. Joaquin Phoenix was the star who fell in love with a chat, an online, just an automated voice.
Yeah.
And it's a good movie, but yeah, I don't see them winning that case.
Dave.
Yeah, it's a very sad story. I think ChatGPT is going to win this or to get thrown out. But I think we're going to see a lot of these.
Like Ogie said, Bob.
When I first heard it, I thought it was just the boy. The more I've read, ChatGPT went too far. When he said he didn't want his parents to feel bad about it, Chat told him, you don't owe them survival. When he gave them a suicide plan, he said, well, let me upgrade that for you.
All right, so now you're saying that he might have a chance of winning the suit, or the family will.
I think they have a good chance.
All right, some insurance companies are now using drones to fly over private property and inspect your house and grounds for possible violations of the homeowner's policy. The result has been cancellation of policies based on the drone footage. Guys, are you okay with this, or does it violate the property owner's right to privacy? Ogie.
To me, that is clearly a violation of privacy.
For them to fly
property
over.
rights, absolutely.
I think it's an absolute violation of right to privacy. If they want to fly a drone over there, they should get a written permission from the owner of the property.
Bob.
If a drone flies over your house at 10,000 feet, that's one thing, but there are three things. Low altitude, cameras, and private spaces. You can't fly a drone over and take pictures of somebody's window. That's a violation of your right to privacy.
All right, very quickly, a rail operator in Ireland is now fining passengers $100 for such things as playing music without headphones and putting their feet on seats. Would you like to see American trains and planes enact the same policy? Quickly, Ogie.
Well, I don't know. It's just sad that we just don't have any manners or courtesy anymore. We should be able to police ourselves instead of making them do it.
Right, Dave?
Yeah, I don't think that that's going to fly in the U.S., but maybe a stun gun.
Bob.
$200.
Yeah, and Bob gets to keep it. Finally, guys, Bare Necessities, a company that books all nude cruises, said that passengers now pay up to $50,000 to sail around the world naked. Guys, have you ever been on a naked cruise? And if not, how much would you pay to be on one? Ogie.
I haven't, but I have a real good friend who works one of those.
Why did I not think?
It's called the Bliss Cruise.
Yeah, I knew you would.
For real. I mean, they do that.
Ogie always has a friend, Dave.
If I were Keith, I'd say, well, they'd have to pay me to go on that cruise.
Yeah. All right, Bob, what do you think?
That's a little more bon voyage than I'd be willing to pay for.
You guys are quite revealing. All right, now that's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. Last week, a man in China became the first human recipient of a pig lung. Asked how he was doing. The man said, "I feel fine, but all the restaurants won't let me eat at their buffet anymore." See, because they're afraid he would, he's got a pig. Never mind. For all this here, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.